Welcome back. We're picking up right where we left off from part 2. I showed you all the inlay pieces that were put into this model. They go all around the edges. They were just placed in. They weren't glued. That way you could see how they would go. So here you see I put all the glue around the edges. We're slowly going around putting each piece in. I had the rear put in, the bay door. Now we're going along the sides. We've got 2 of those put in. They can only go one way. So you're not going to mess this up, which is a good thing. But still, just do a test fit just to make sure you know which way goes which way and where it goes. So we're almost doing this right here. We're now putting in the back of the left side. There is that other port. Putting in this piece right here and that, and then one more we already put in. We're going to go along this edge here, put some glue. We'll also put in our nose piece right here. That only goes one way. Each slot is important so you don't mess this up. Here we're going to do a little bit of detail work while the model can sit flat. It makes it easier to paint. The other pieces are slowly drying. They're secure, so it's not a big deal. I think I mentioned in the last video that there's a lot of detail, and here's some more of it. I'm not going to show you all of it because there is just that much of it. You can see in the final video all the work that went into this model. These are just some small little pieces just showing you here of what I did, just using the black paint, going around them. This is on the bottom side of the model, these little triangles here. Those go black. There's 2 on this side. I believe there might be some more. So this is now the top part of the model, and we are doing more black detail on the top part. Once we have all that black detail done, we'll clamp this model together from both pieces. I'm using a toothpick right here. These go on the back of the wings. I figured it's easier to use a toothpick with a little bit of black paint on it. This is the engines, so put some black paint on these. Just go around the edges of each thing here. Make sure you get inside of those cracks and crevices really good. That way it's all covered. Just take your time. You can use masking if you want to. I freehanded everything. I wasn't worried about the look of it. It's just a model. If it looks rough, it looks a little rough. Here's one of the larger engines that we're going around the edges on. Just keep working your way. This is the back side of that engine, the opposite side. Keep doing that. Keep painting a little bit more all the way around this entire thing for the engine. Eventually you'll get it done. Put 2 coats on there, that way it looks pretty. These mount to the backs of the engines. I'm not exactly sure what they are. They're just little pieces. I painted those black. That way they would stand out, and that's what the plans called for. So we're gluing these back rockets right here. These will go on the back of the model as well by the engines. We are going to paint these tips of these a medium gray color. We're doing that right now. Just get all the tips, go all the way around. These were actually easy to paint, not a big deal. I used a paintbrush. I didn't worry about getting out the airbrush for them. I was happy with how it turned out, as I am with a lot of things on these models. Here are the guns. These are going to go a dark gray color. The tips will go black, and I believe the middles go a little bit of silver. Those would be the actual barrels themselves. So we're just going around painting all of these right here, just like so. Get all the tops, get all the bottoms. These dark areas that I'm painting right here, more detail. It all goes dark gray. You want to get the top detail and the side details as well that I'll show you here, what I'm getting right now. The guns will just eventually just pop right down into those, which is what we want. This model, like I said, I didn't put the top halves together because I wanted to make it easier. This is a close-up of this right here so you can see exactly what's going on. Just paint the inside of it, and you see like groove detail that's raised. The groove detail gets painted this dark gray color, and I'll just lightly go over that with the brush, same as I would as if I were painting an instrument panel, because this is how I paint the instrument panel. Same way, just lightly go over everything. Here I am. Here's one side, and here's the other. You saw me already get that top portion right there that I got. Just doing a little bit of touch up. It goes right up to these little lines. They're hard to see, but they are there. These go on the back of the model right here. This is for the engine area. Put a little bit of glue right there. We're going to put in our small little engines, and they can only go one way because you can see it's got that cut in there that goes slanted, and that stabilizer, whatever that thing is that we just put in. And you see there we're putting in that second engine. break this piece off. These are for the engines as well. We're going to break these out. Everything for the engines, take off in fact, because we're going to start doing that back assembly for it. We got the big engines right here. We're going to get those off. Once we get those off, we are going to start putting this thing together. These are also the little engines that go on. There are a total of, I think, 4 engines for this. It just takes a while to break all these pieces off. It just seems like there's so many of them. But the good thing is they snap right into place. So that's one positive out of the whole thing. So here we are. We're just putting a little bit of glue on these. And really the way this works is you put the engine on and then other pieces snap inside of that. So it really makes it easy to do. So let's get our glue. We're going to run it around the inside of this engine here. You see it's got a groove in there. So both pieces, when you made them together, they just kind of fit in perfectly, and they also have some pins that fit into boxes on the other side. So here we are, we're sticking this one engine on, and you can see it has those little areas that go down on there. Those are basically snaps, so you can snap the engine right into place onto the engine mount. Here's the other engine. Just going to show you this real quick. Put this into place, make sure the glue holds nice and steady. There we go, that piece looks good. Here are 2 more engines that we're doing right here. You can see those other ones that I have already completed at the bottom. No need to show you all of them. Just stick them together. They've got little registration marks and pins in them as well, so where you know to place these engines. Here is one more engine, and we'll put this together. And we have another engine, and we are going to put that one together, and then these engines should be done. Here we go. This is it, finishing up the engine. So we've got 4 engines. This is going to go in the back of the engine block, so snap that off. I'm going to put some glue along the edge of this, and once we do that, there's a piece that will go on top of that that we'll also have to put on. So get your 2 halves once you got the glue on, and just carefully mate these together. The bottom stays open, as you can see here, until we put the other piece on. Just clamp that together, that way you know it stays. This is going to go on top of that in that bare space. I am basically putting on some light gray coat and then just brushing it off, and then I'll go over with my brush again, and then I'll hide that detail with the medium gray paint that I have, and I'll just paint that on there. It gives it a nice little weathered look to it. And after I have all the paint on, I get myself a paper towel and I just slowly wipe off any paint that I really don't want. It'll smear a little bit, but as I said, I just touch it up later on with some gray paint and call it done. Here we're going around this little edge here, and we do the opposite side of that, and we'll get that. So just continue putting your marks on each little groove and crack that they have here. We got 2 little spots right here. Go along the edge on this side and the other side. Once you're done with that, you can get your paper towel and just kind of brush everything off. Go through with it, put your touch-up paint on like I'm doing here. That way the grooves are filled in with the white, and the top of it is still blue. Or I'm sorry, the top of it is still gray. I say blue because it always looks like a blue color to me, even though it's supposed to be gray. So here I am just going over everything with the touch-up. That way the indentations are staying white. I just go over the tops of it. That way it keeps the fill in there. Here we are, almost done with that. And as you can see, the inlays, they look great. We're going to put some glue right here on these slots, and we are going to take that piece that we just finished painting, and we are going to press that in there, and that will complete this little block that fits inside of the engine mount itself. So here we are, we finished with the glue right here on these little pieces. Take the top, it's got slots in there, just press it down nice and firm. If you want, you can go back later and put the spots that are blue, or I'm sorry, gray, and turn those into a light gray. These are the actual engine nozzles, and they go jet exhaust. This is supposed to be an airbrushed color, but I paint them on because I like the rough look that it gives it. Just do all 4 of these. Once all 4 of them are done, you'll break them off with the sprues. We're going to do this engine as well. So just remember, we've got 4 of these to do. Each of these little exhaust ports gets that nice exhaust color. Going around, this is the 3rd one I'm doing. Didn't take me long to do these at all. They were fairly simple because they're so small. So here they are, all 4 of them. They look pretty. Break off these pieces. These are little flaps. This is the engine block right here. Put your glue in, and this is where those fins will go. We got one fin, it's got some pins. Place that down. Place the other fins down. Here we are, we're having this block here. We're going to place the engines on there. Notice the orientation and which way they go. So this means it's going to basically fit. The thrust is going to go one way, and that block's going to go right into this engine mount. So there is the other engine. Now we're going to do the other side. Place these 4 engines in all together, and that will complete the block assembly that gets pushed into the engine mounts. So that's done. This is the whole assembly right there. It looks really good. We're happy with that. Cut off all these engine ports right here. As I said earlier, they're on the sprues. Touch them up on the sides where we broke off the pieces. These right here also go inside of those engine blocks. So you also want to make sure you paint this area that we didn't get earlier. So we're showing you that now. And those little slots are where those black tabs go. So let's take these black tabs. We're going to put our glue on the little tab here and put the tabs inside of the tabs in the little slots. And we have 8 of these because there's 2 per engine nozzle, 1 on each side. Here we are finishing those up. I'm putting glue on the inside of this. And what we're going to do is once the glue is inside, we're just going to take the engine port and just press down as hard as we can. Notice the orientation, and the engines fit right inside of those. And there they are, completed. So I'm touching up the underside of this because I airbrushed these. Once I broke them off of the sprue, it had the bottom section did not get painted. So I'm putting a little bit of paint on these. And when I put them down on the model, I'm going to face them down anyway. That way it's less visible to everybody else. So here I'm putting a little bit of glue on these tabs, and you can see the ports right there. You take these and you just snap those right into place, and they'll make a nice little click once you get those in there. Do each one. So remember, we have 4 of these to do. We have 2 left. Here again, the glue goes on. You click it in place. Here's the last engine. Put that on. Once we do that, we are going to grab our big engine block, and that goes right there in the middle. So put some glue on the little tabs, and it's going to fit right into the slot right there. Just give that a good push. Just let that dry. After it's dried, you see we have these little indentations right here. This is a track basically, and our block is going to fit into that track and our mount. Right here you see small little lines that I'm going over. That's because these fins push down into those, so you want to make sure you do that. Go along the edge of the spaceship. Put glue all around the edge, especially at those contact points. Once we have the entire edges filled out, we're going to grab our top half, and we're going to place that on top of this, and you got to press the sides in a little bit, and it should just fit in there just perfectly. Here you see me going down the edge of that engine mount right there, getting the inside of the track on the top, and here I am just pushing it down. You push on the inside just a little bit, and that's how easy it goes together. I clamped it together and I let it dry. In the meantime, you can cut your guns off the sprues. You can paint the barrels of those silver like you see me doing here. You see I have the tips, those are black. So as I said earlier, you didn't really have to paint those because they were already painted. Right here, you put a little bit of glue on the edge of that circle and you press these into place, and you're also going to hear these snap in. Some of them took a little bit of pressure, but just keep pressing on it and you'll just hear a pop, and that's how you know it's seated in there. Just make sure you have it pressed the right way. There we go. We've got all 8 of those in. This is the control tower. Put your glue on all the tabs. Once that's on there, just slowly slide that down into place, and it should be good to go. So we've got all of our glue on here, and we are now going to mount this bad boy. So here we go. Just hold it in place. Wait for that glue to set up a couple seconds. We're going to put on our decals right here, those little red circles. I've got a little bit of gloss that I'm putting on so it doesn't silver, and I always make sure I mention that. So also, upon the gloss, you can put some microset on there too. Make sure these are where you want them to line up. Do one side and then the other. Just put the decal on. Just hold them down with your fingers, dab them, coat them with some flat paint, and then just paint all the little details, and this model will be done. This is it. This is the Republic Star Destroyer by Revell. I finally finished it, front and back, of course. I really like doing this model. It was easy to do. It fit together nicely. There were a few little bit of pieces that I did have to sand just to get them to fit, but that's okay. As you can see, it went together. This is the back side. This is the front. The gray paint that I used, it varied a little bit for the medium gray. As you can see, it looks kind of blue. That's okay. Just pick whatever paint you want. That way you use your light gray, your medium gray, and your dark grays, and it should come out okay. I'm happy with everything. This model went together very well. It's not a snap type model. You still have to use glue. And overall, they did a really good model by Revell right here. And this is it. You can see many different versions of this on YouTube. Some people did a lot of light versions where they put not LEDs, but they put fiber optics inside and they made it all glow. I didn't do that to the extent. I did get a little bit lazy when it came to doing some of the painting, but that's okay. It's going to go in a case and I feel it looked really nice. I had a lot of fun doing this. For the latest updates, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like. Have a good day.